So, hello, listening community. Jo and Lyndall again. We usually do this on a Friday, but we didn't do it on this Friday because coronavirus.
Hashtag coronavirus.
But yes, we are doing our usual check-in with each other and debrief on the world and its madness, its chaos, and how we are navigating that. So let's start with a check-in. How are you doing?
Oh gosh, I've got a big smile on my face at the moment, only because I've arranged an online eyebrow repair for tomorrow morning. Possibly the wrong timing for that. Should have been today. But anyway, so that's making me quite amused that finally I'm at that point where I'm going, oh my God, I won't be able to see. And then when I get past that kind of little giggly bit, there's another bit that's, I really don't like this. I really don't like, I would consider myself to be naturally an introvert. I'm quite happy in my own company, but I don't like feeling restricted. I don't like not having choice. And there are times when I'm better at that than other times. But right now, I'm having no waves of no, I don't like this anymore. Could we stop this now? And then I'm also kind of noticing the ways that I go about coping, which is obviously doing what I do, talking to lots of people, getting lots of information, making sense to the best of my ability in terms of what I think we're looking at, what might be coming ahead, trying to get a bit ahead of it in my own mind. And I'm kind of at one level feeling a little bit relieved that some of what I thought might have happened is happening in the way that I thought it might. You know, that sense of, can I actually pick up on patterns, which is what I do. How I work is observing patterns and noticing how they work and what the impact is. So it's almost reassuring, I suppose, that the information that I'm getting back at the moment does seem to be lining up with the patterns that I'm reading. So I feel like I'm in an okay place in that regard. So I suppose if you take all that into account, from eyebrows to, you know, being able to read patterns, which I have in my eyebrows at the moment, patterns. I think you could say I'm having a machine of an experience, and at the moment my feet are on the ground, and that's okay. So I'm doing all right.
Yes, plenty of ditto for that, in that for me. Except my eyebrows are fine. The pattern thing, really interesting. So I get that we have a sort of a lens on the world and the way that patterns arise in all sorts of different areas, in politics, in emotions. You know, there's so many different fields and forms of information that we look for patterns. And that's a very weird ass way to move through the world. So I get that, that any pattern I see is probably seen by very few people in the world, and that isolates me more sometimes. So I do notice that I'm really reaching out for people that can see the patterns in the same way that I do, and it's incredibly affirming when either someone else says, yeah, I'm seeing that too, or when it's a crazy example, but when they let everyone off the what is it, the Ruby Princess?
Yeah.
No, the Ruby Princess?
Yeah.
My initial immediate response was, what? Really? Terror, horror, panic, and I couldn't understand that it took it took Australia, quite a while to catch up to that. And, I'm not an expert on cruise ships docking and the protocols of sickness on board. And, there are experts. There are experts that are not being listened to. And that I find incredibly frustrating. Because that's part of what I stand for in leadership is good leaders listen to all forms of feedback, and particularly from their experts. They don't pretend to be experts instead of. They don't take that information from experts and pretend it was their own, or just not listen to it and they know better. So I'm just really, really angry with people in positions of power right now. Really cranky. And I want that to be different. I want leadership to be more evolved than it is right now, which is, again, out of my control. So it's not something that I should particularly, obsess about. It's just not useful right now. So.
I think if.
Go on.
I think if I find myself getting caught up in thinking about America and the very, very poor decision making and leadership process and the consequences of that, the serious consequences of that, I go into almost complete overwhelm in terms of what that means for everybody else with what's going on in America. And I guess what I'm noticing, if we bring it right back to people, right back to, the clients that I'm speaking to at the moment, day in, day out, the ones who had to make decisions to stand down, hundreds and hundreds of people, and how they went about doing that. And given that everybody that's leading at the moment is also experiencing the same level of anxiety as everybody else is, and yet having to make these really difficult decisions and put difficult strategies in place, and not using the resources that are available in terms of people who know how to help you manage your own stuff in order to make good decisions for the whole. Because I'm seeing and hearing about lots of people being impacted by leaders who actually at the moment aren't managing their own stuff all that well.
Yeah.
And this, for those people who are still working, this is bloody hard. Not just the doctors and the nurses and the scientists. I'm talking about the cafe owners who have to keep opening because they have to pay their rent, because they can't get a deal, but they can't sell food. All they can do is sell coffee, and living in uncertainty, having to make really tricky decisions. And there is a leader in their world who could probably alleviate some of that stress a little bit. Gosh, these thoughts just zoom out in 6,000 different directions, and I'm trying to kind of contain them, but it's really tough at the moment for people who are working. Are you finding that, like the process of actually having to, even if you're working from home, having some separation now between work and home is almost impossible? There's people seeing parts of our houses that they haven't, I haven't invited them into, because it's my home. And from a leadership perspective, we really need to be understanding the degree to which the people are struggling to just keep going when they're, when their hearts hurt, when they're scared.
Yeah. And there is, for me, there's something about as a leader, what I'm hearing a lot of is take care of yourselves, but it's
Yeah.
followed up with the question, how's that report coming? Well,
yeah,
so, I am really enjoying the conversation that people are now having a lot, it seems, on social media about the fact that this is a global reset. It's a global reset on the way that we work with the planet and profitability and people, and how all of those three things converse with each other and influence each other. And I'm hopeful that instead of simply doing the lowest order version of caring for each other, which is to say, I hope you're washing your hands and you stay safe now, that actually we take that next step, which is to deconstruct our own need for speed and pace, and this need to have our faces and our voices out there creating more chaos and more noise that our poor unfortunate team or social group now need to take time to navigate. I'm just feeling the need for people to just calm down in lots of ways
and take a breath. I was true confessions here. Tim Minchin is, gosh, if I could find myself in a room with that man.
Oh dear.
Put my shoes on. Anyway. And I was reading an article from him last night about, he doesn't understand why the creatives are, so down at the moment, that, this is the best opportunity to be writing and to be creative and to, there's time. And he talks about the anxiety, his anxiety being now less than because somebody else had made a decision to cancel his shows. It wasn't because he got sick, which was his ongoing anxiety. What if I get sick and I can't do my show?
Yeah.
So, his anxiety had come down to zero because there was no show, and he could just go back to creating, and he kind of didn't understand, what the problem was. And I thought, Tim, the reality is when we're super stressed, the creative parts of ourselves just aren't available to us.
Yeah.
And I'm working with lots of different creatives who are really struggling at the moment to find any motivation to bring that really core part of themselves forward because they're frightened. And then they're down on themselves because they can't be productive, and they're down on themselves because they can't come up with, the great literary masterpiece or whatever. And I kind of want to just say, it's okay right now. Just stop for a second and let's just have a think about why we're feeling the need to rush to get this stuff. What's the imperative at the moment? Is it, what are we running from? What's the tiger that we're running from? And what would happen if we turned around and had a look at it and worked out what we wanted to do about it versus just, staying on that bloody wheel. Yeah.
On the hamster wheel.
Yeah. And look, there are some people who absolutely are thriving at the moment and feeling hugely creative and fantastic. And for some of them, there's a little bit of guilt about, I'm actually feeling okay. I feel like I'm writing this pretty well, We're all doing it differently, and we're not all on the same page around what's even happening. I'm at the point at the moment where I even sort of see, we're watching old kind of television and seeing people on television together, cuddling or kissing kind of raises my level of anxiety slightly.
Social distance.
Yeah,
distance. Back up.
So if it's kind of, infiltrating, even into that level, I kind of go, hey, we need to take a breath, and we need to have a think about what this is bringing up for us and how we're managing it and what might be a little bit more helpful.
Yeah. Agreed.
Mm.
The thing that also occurs to me just as we're having this conversation is that people need help even being able to do that. You know, we all need good, solid holding spaces to be able to sit for long enough with the discomfort and with the
Yes.
anxiety and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we start to just do some separate sessions which are just addressing a particular process or a particular topic, because these are kind of more the, the debrief sessions, the isolation debrief sessions. But yeah, maybe we get, and I would love to get some of the other listeners involved from listening projects. So maybe we start to think through how we make that happen.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think getting into a little bit more specific detail, because there are so many different experiences, I think it would be helpful to kind of be able to really sit in one of them. I'm particularly concerned, as you can hear at the moment, for the people who are still working in normalish kind of jobs, not the essential roles, but the everyday peeps who are trying to manage having their working life turned upside down and what that means for them. I think that's really important at the moment.
Why don't we do this? We're going way over our allotted time. Oh, wait, no, we haven't. We've maybe got 1 minute left of our allotted time. So let's go straight to the fridge and get a glass of wine.
It's 11 o'clock wine time.
Why don't we do this? We don't really have time for our usual little sort of mini meditation. Why don't we just do just a little sort of bow around this, do a wrap up of what our takeaways are or our tips in a checkout kind of a statement. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you could start.
Okay. Yeah, I feel so much better. And yeah, essentially is that I've had a conversation with someone who is just listening, listening and riffing. So there's no managing me. There's no putting me back in my box. There's no sending me to a timeout. And yeah, that's what we stand for in the listening project. So that's that. I sit here now feeling like this is a conversation that is on purpose, and that makes my heart very full. Takeaways. Yeah, I am keen to create more structure for people who need it. I'm clear that I don't want to send myself back into overwhelm in the creation of structure. I'm clear that I'm tired and I've got a lot on. I'm working full time. I've got the working from home thing. I've got all of the energy that I'm putting into my, extra projects, which is where I try and help. So I'm clear that in creating something that is going to help, it will be simple and efficient and not just add noise. And yeah, look, it would be, I really would love to, have more of us that can work in this way. That's me.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel ready to move into the rest of the day, which is busy after all that. But I'm getting better. I'm just admiring how I'm getting better at kind of spreading my day out a bit and giving myself some time in between, because I'm very conscious of the fact I have an only child who, while is amazing at keeping herself occupied, there is just her in her age group in our household. So I'm really conscious of looking after her. I guess those those who I've been talking to recently know that I've been blabbing on about a thing called a portal.
Yes.
That what's going on at the moment does actually feel like a portal around being able to take the opportunity to do things really differently. But we have to be willing to let go of some of the old patterns in order to do that. I keep hearing people going, when are we going back? When are we going to, stop this and go back to where our lives were? And then we hear this other thing that is, it's never going to be the same again in our lifetime. And I think here's a huge chance to really take some time to stop the busyness, the productivity, the getting shit done, and really focus on you and what you need and what's going to make a difference and how you want to be in the world, to deal with some of the old shit that's coming up at the moment, because it is in a portal. It's fantastic like that. So yeah, I'm kind of a bit excited, but gosh, I wish everyone would just jump on board. And the invitation is there, so hopefully we'll be able to extend this invitation and yeah, make it simple for people to access really good quality work, with people who are good at reading patterns, I think, in eyebrows.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
All
right.
Thanks, love.
Talk soon.
Talk soon.
Bye.